ready to start the meeting for the Holliston Planning Board, Thursday, April 1st, 2021. And I first need to read a quick paragraph. To open the meeting, the following statement needs to be read. Pursuant to the governor's order suspending certain provisions of the meeting law, GLC 38, paragraph 20, as well as the Select Board's emergency order dated 3/16/2020, the Planning Board will be using remote participation for this meeting. The audio of this meeting is being recorded and will be posted to the town's webpage within 24 hours in accordance with the governor's emergency action requirements of keeping the public informed of actions during this meeting. I would ask that all participants remotely attending this meeting please state your name for identification purposes each time we speak throughout the meeting. At this time, we will do a roll call for board members. David Thorne.
Josh Santoro.
And Scott.
Scott Kirkland.
Okay, great. Thanks so much. At this time, I guess we'll start with approval minutes from March 18th. I don't know if you all have had any thoughts or if anybody.
Make a motion to approve minutes from March 18th.
Okay, Josh has made a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Scott has seconded. I guess we'll start with Scott.
Aye.
All right. Josh, all right, aye. David, aye. Okay. That's first thing. Approval is not required subdivisions.
On the table, you have a plan from Pout Lane. So this is the little cul-de-sac within Constitution Village. And I'm guessing that Dale is on the call.
Oh, there he is. Yep. He's connecting. I see him connecting, so.
He's muted.
If you're muted, I think. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay.
Hi, Dale.
Hi, Angela is with us, and so is Jim Sullivan from my office. Angela Conforti from Safford.
Hello, I'm
Good
here.
evening.
Hi.
Hi. Okay. So, would you like to talk about, are we talking about Pout Lane, I guess?
I have a A&R proposed for Pout Lane. Is that what you're referencing?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to let me share, and I'll put that on my machine. I'll put it on
Screen. Can he share that or? Yeah. Yes, you can share that, yes.
mine. The one I have, let's see. Here we go. Connecting. There we go. There we go.
So you can't have two computers with the same audio. You got to disconnect audio from your other computer.
Says host still screen disabled. Check my audio. Oh, okay.
I don't know. I think he's got two. You've got two things going, right?
Yeah, I got to mute one.
Does not connect with audio from one.
Okay. Of course, now we can't hear him.
No.
Now we can't hear you.
When is the governor going to make this thing in person? Get this over with.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
But I'm on both. So
Now, can you explain to him what he needs to do? Dale, on the computer you can share, go to the
Okay, I should
bottom.
be on just one now.
Yes,
Is that correct? Okay.
Perfect.
All
Anyway.
right.
Snowberry.
All right, this is, can you see my, on
Screen
my
now.
plan? On my, on the
On the screen now.
Nothing yet.
screen one.
There it
Okay,
is.
yes, now we can, yes.
Okay, very good. All right, so what we're doing is we're adding a small square footage between lot 83-1, which we're calling 83A-1 and 83B-1. The purpose of it is they want to go with a 5-bedroom house, so we have to make it a little bit larger so that we have 50,000 square feet in that lot. And it's for the nitrogen loading for that lot. So that's the purpose of it.
Okay. Okay. Great. Self-explanatory.
Mhm.
Okay. I don't know if you had any questions or anything. I don't know if Scott had any questions.
It looks like you're just making one lot bigger, one lot smaller. Is that
That's correct.
okay?
Okay. I think we just need a motion and,
Yeah,
all right.
empower one of you guys to sign.
Okay. So if somebody wants to make a motion
I'll make
and
a
also,
motion to empower myself to sign that legislation.
okay. So, and are you making a motion?
I'll second.
Okay, and Scott is seconding it?
Well, I'm also gonna make a motion to approve the, size change.
Okay.
The modification.
Should they have to be in two motions?
No, fine.
One motion, okay. So you've seconded, you made a motion, he
I have.
seconded. I
I'll
guess
second
Scott,
both / the one motion.
okay. And then, Scott, I guess we'll go with you first.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
All right, and David, aye. Okay. All right, we'll let you sign those. Is there any other,
Nope.
so that's it for approvals not required subdivisions, okay. 3, we are not, doing that tonight, which is Holliston Woods, that's been moved. I guess next on the agenda is annual town meeting articles, zoning and road acceptance.
The way that I laid this out, Mary Greendale wanted to speak really quickly about a citizen's petition.
Okay, all right. Okay. Hi, Mary, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Fine, thanks.
Good. Hey, Josh, how are you?
I'm well. How are you, Mary? Nice to see you.
You too. You too. First, let me just say I'm really proud of all of you. I know you've been under incredible pressure. You too, Karen. So the fact that you're actually trying to break out tonight and do some ordinary business is, I hope it's a treat for you. Anyway, I know that I sent around to you all the petition that I have created. I had sent some information prior to the final version. The goal of this petition is to establish a comprehensive long-range planning committee to develop a vision for Holliston, a vision statement that will be the first part of a long-range plan. And the goal of the plan, or the vision statement for the plan, will be to guide what government does, in the years ahead. Karen was helpful and showed me the way to all of the plans that we already have. We have many, and then there are some that aren't even there, but have sit in other offices. So the first thing that this committee would be charged with doing is trying to assemble information from all of those plans and see exactly what are we saying, what have we said in, whether it's the master plan, the open space plan, the housing plan, the whatever. And once we have all of that information, put it into some sort of accessible database or spreadsheets or whatever. Smarter people than I will have to figure that out. And then the committee would have to undertake an open process, public forums, surveys, stand on the street corner, whatever creative thinking we can do to engage as many people as possible, with the idea of building consensus amongst all of us. There are so many different ways to do plans these days, and I'm really excited with the stuff that I've been reading about, and stuff that Karen already knows, but I'm excited about some of the approaches that the communities are taking these days. They're far more inclusive. They are far more cutting across the silos of town government, so that we're not each, individually operating within our own sphere, but rather we're thinking about how everything we do connects with what everybody else is doing in town at the same time. The reason I decided to do this as a citizen's petition rather than just going to the planning board or the select board or whatever was because I do want it to be a cross section. I don't want it to be labeled as just your project or the select board's project or somebody else's project. I want it to be the town's project. I want town meeting to own it. And to understand that if we don't do this kind of planning, if we don't have conversations amongst ourselves about what we want this town to look like, be like, feel like, to live in, we're constantly going to run into major issues where things happen that we don't like. So anyway, the petition draws out a 13-member committee. Some people have said, oh my God, that's so big. I think when I did the downtown vision, I think we had 23 people on the committee, and I think it was one of the best committees I've ever worked with. So I don't think size alone should matter, but what it is a cross section of all of the different entities. It's a historic commission, it's it's natural resources, it's parks, it's, everybody, so that there's an investment of time and energy and understanding from all of us as we approach this whole process. After the vision is done, the comprehensive planning committee is going to have to figure out what's the next step. And the next step, could be any one of the variety of formats that I've looked at for planning. Some of them are excitingly different. But the bottom line with all of them is that the community has to be very vested in where it's going. And again, it's the public engagement. So I'm hoping that I get a good response at town meeting. The select board was very supportive. I think they would have been willing to sponsor it had I wanted to go that route, but as I say, I didn't. Anyway, that's basically it. If you have questions, I just wanted to make myself available to answer those questions. What I would hope for is that you would endorse the project to go ahead at town meeting. I'm not expecting that you have to stand up and, say anything if you don't feel so inclined, but that you endorse the concept and that I can say that. Anyway, do you have questions?
Do you have any questions?
No, I read the email that you sent to us, and I saw the response that you put out to the town and all the comments that people were putting up there about your idea of a master plan or a town plan, or
Right.
And I don't want to speak for the board, but I'll speak for myself. I totally would support you going to town hall and town meeting that, and you definitely have my endorsement as a board member on the planning board.
Thanks.
And Scott, I didn't know if you had any questions for Mary, or?
Yeah, no, I read what was sent over also. I think it's a good idea, and yeah, I would support taking it to town meeting as well.
Thanks, Scott.
Yeah, and I also think it is, so thank you for your time.
Yeah, we do appreciate, and also just the clarity of it is very is refreshing. Having someone come up with some succinct plans is nice to hear. So thank you for that, Mary.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Right.
We appreciate it. So,
Excellent.
All right, if you guys are all set, I'm all set.
great. Well, thank you very much.
so much.
Thank you very much, and we appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Good luck.
Thanks. Have a good night.
Have a nice night.
And so next, I guess, what's the best way to go through this?
I think Millie Campersall is on to discuss you potentially sponsoring designation of scenic roads, South Street and Campersall Road. I think you have some pictures and an email from her.
Okay.
She's on the call.
Right here, yep. How are you this evening? I don't know if you want to unmute your phone or your computer. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Millie from up on South Street. I emailed everybody with a little bit of history on why I'm asking to make South Street a scenic road. I'm pretty sure it was already on a town meeting warrant many years ago. I just always assumed it was a scenic road until a few years ago when I happened to notice all the scenic road signs and South Street didn't have scenic written over the top of it. So I checked with Liz Greendale and I emailed Liz Greendale, and I emailed Mary Greendale because I thought she was active in it at the time too. And they both kind of remembered it, but couldn't find any history of it. So then this year, because of the Hopping Brook project, I've been more active in everything. And because of the pandemic, I've had more time. And I said, okay, let me take some action and at least ask them to make it a scenic road. I think it should have been included in 1976 when Fisher and Rockland were included. It seems unusual that South is the only street up here that isn't a scenic road that's been here since the 17 or 1800s. So I used an article that Karen sent me to substitute some words and, sent it with you. And I added Campusall Road as an addition while we were doing it, mainly because that road has stone walls on either side of it. It's only a short road, but, I wasn't sure if that should be included now or not. So I'm just asking for your support and your sponsorship so that I don't have to get a petition. But at Karen's suggestion, I did check with all the neighbors. The neighbors that live near me are mostly my relatives, as some of you know. And the neighbors up the street, I only knew a couple of them. But they were in favor of it, and they checked with their neighbors down at the beginning of South Street. And they all said they would sign a petition if we needed it, but I was hoping.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I certainly would support it. I think it's important. Beautiful roads and lots of nice old stone walls and old trees and so forth, and it's certainly very narrow, especially when you go over that pond. That's the next town, but I've driven many times through that water area, and I feel like I'm in the water almost. But I know that's the next town. But anyway.
Sometimes you are in the water. If you come on the right day, sometimes you are in the water.
And those telephone poles are so close, so, but I'd certainly support it. I don't know, I give everybody else a chance, but.
I would support it. I would support it 100%, Ms. Campusall, for both roads, not only Campusall Road, but also for South Street. You have my endorsement as a member of the planning board.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Scott, I don't know if you.
Yeah, maybe this is a question for Karen, but I guess what does the designation of scenic road do? Like, I assume that, what does it do? What does it mean for the people who live along a scenic road?
So the scenic road designation is a planning board jurisdiction. So any it only applies to walls, stone walls and trees within the right of way of the street.
Okay.
So nothing on private property. So in most cases, walls are kind of shared property lines between the town and private individuals.
Yeah, because they're usually right along within a few feet of the road,
Yep.
Correct? Yeah.
Yep. So any alteration of walls for things like new driveways or, someone's reconstructing a wall or adding a second driveway kind of issue, and any removal of trees are within your jurisdiction and require public hearing for any alteration.
All right, yeah, no, that's fine. I think I support it. I just wanted to make sure we're not putting any undue burden on property owners or anything, but no, that sounds fine to me.
And not to get into, I believe this has nothing to do with in terms of truck traffic. I'm not talking about anything else other than
Yep,
But-
trees and walls.
trees and walls, so we're not talking about truck traffic and this, that's
Yeah.
the select board or someone else, but that's not us, that's, just in case
No,
anybody's
it's
watching this, but it's,
No, going down South Street is
Yeah.
it's just a beautiful road,
Yeah.
and a small road like Campersall Road,
Yeah.
Campersall Street coming off of it.
yeah, it is, they're
Also-
pretty,
They're
they're
very,
both pretty.
pretty right,
They
pretty
really
roads.
are. Beautiful streets, lots of
So-
old stone walls and trees and so forth, so,
They keep a nice integrity.
yeah. So I think we also are in support of that, so do we need to,
I think so, because what you're gonna do is, if you so choose, you would, I think just transmit to the select board an article. So you would take
Okay.
the draft article here, and we would just report a vote and
So I'm gonna
transmit it
make
to
a
them for
motion
Monday.
then to approve, or to make, Campersall Street, Campersall Road and South Street both designated as scenic roads.
okay.
That's
You're
my
making a
motion.
motion?
I am, is that all right?
We need to put in that, or?
I think you just, the way that I'll preface it is that you'd like them to reopen the warrant to consider the article.
Oh, to consider the,
So
Yes, I believe it's closed technically.
okay.
I will make a motion right now to reopen the warrant for consideration of South Street and Campersall Road as scenic roads.
Okay, all right. Do I have a second?
Yeah, I'll second that motion.
Scott has seconded that, and I'll start with Scott.
Aye.
All right,
Aye.
Scott, all right. And David, aye, okay. So, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, and have a good evening. Thank you for,
Yep, and thanks for all that you're doing, all the hard work. I hope you guys are getting some sleep at night. I know how stressful that's gotta be.
Yeah.
All the,
Thank you very much, Ms. Campersall.
thank you
you.
very much, and have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
I guess now we're on to, a couple of other things here. We have to go through each one, I guess, or?
Yeah, so I mean, just in general, so spring is generally the season for zoning bylaw amendments in terms of town meetings. We haven't really worked on any overtime as a board. However, you just got a forward from the zoning board through the select board, for a potential change regarding large-scale solar, facilities. So you have an email with an attached article. So the chapter 40A, section 5, has kind of like a volleying thing going on. So the zoning board is a potential sponsor of a bylaw article. They petition to the select board. The select board refers it to the planning board to schedule a public hearing. So if you so choose to set up a public hearing, it's going to be kind of a squeaker to get to town meeting, to do a public hearing before town meeting. It's up to you. So because they did this, I kind of put these other issues out there. So the solar thing is pretty cut and dry. It's simply that the statute, also 40A, but Section 3 this time, protects solar as a what's called a Dover Amendment use, a protected use, that is solar access. So regulation of solar has become more complicated, of course. So there's some proposed changes to require special permits within other zoning districts that currently don't allow it. And the zoning board has had a case before it recently that town council cautioned them to allow to withdraw, and it's currently in front of you this evening for site plan review. Same case. So Dover protection because of the solar use. So this bylaw article came out of that particular case. the other one that was tabled last year, it was pulled off because it was considered a non-essential warrant item from last year, was repeal of the, already expired, marijuana retail moratorium. That's a housekeeping issue, so if you were so inclined to schedule a hearing, that could go on as a sort of a housekeeping issue. I sent you the, yesterday or the day before, a third article, so a new definition in the statute, for marijuana delivery. That one would require a ballot question, so again, a housekeeping issue that needs to be addressed because of the change in the statute. But since a ballot question wouldn't be available until May of 2022, I wouldn't push that one. I would say postponement is fine for that one, but I just want to make you aware of changes in the statute that require the town to sort of update the zoning.
Okay.
Not only in terms of housekeeping, but also in terms of policy. I mean, that's probably not a good thing to be trying to do at the last minute before town meeting. The two position papers that I sent you from Mead Tallerman, so it was kind of a tome there on zoning. So what happened in 2020, at the end of 2020, were some housing provisions and some relaxations of the statute for certain provisions. Some of them have a pretty big stick attached to it. So things that are labeled MBTA community required things are things that Holliston would have to do in order to be qualified for several grant programs in Massachusetts. So those are things that we probably should weigh. Travis is interested in sort of evaluating if those type of amendments are even possible so that we remain eligible for those grant programs. That's something I would just put in our work program for over the summer and try to get an article together for October. But I wanted to make you aware that there's a bunch of changes to the statutes. I think that Mary Greendale had sent at least a few of us a paper on accessory dwelling units, and so the approach that the Housing Committee wanted to take last year has sort of been echoed kind of in the changes to the general law under Section 1A as definition. So accessory dwelling units, where Holliston has accessory family dwelling units, might be important changes for the town to consider. So again, I think those are work program items to get us to October, but I wanted to make you aware that there are a bunch of state law changes that we kind of need to be responding to. So I know the communities around us have done some quick changes with your load. It just hasn't been possible to try to sneak this in, but I think we'll try to fit it in for October for the special town meeting. My recommendation would be to, if you felt like it, that you could do that article from the zoning board and do the repeal of the already expired moratorium. It's up to you. I mean, it can die if you don't do a public hearing. I don't think the zoning board would feel too miffed. You certainly have time to do it. I don't think it's anything that would get too much public input. But again, it's just an issue of timing so close to town meeting.
Yeah, I'm trying to think here, because we're the 15th, there's,
Yeah, so you had said April 29th as a date, so that would mean that it would publish, and then you would have a public hearing after it publishes in the warrant. So, we've always, when we've done zoning before, we've always tried to do the hearings so that we could at least try to put the final recommended version in the warrant so that there wasn't the confusion of trying to change things on town meeting floor. So it's up to you. If you want to push it all to October, that's fine with me. It will be a scramble, but it's up to you whether you want to respond. I don't think the zoning board really cares if it's an if you deal with it urgently. It's just that there was a case in front of them, so they supported. Mark and I put together the article for them. And
yeah.
but it's up to you guys. I mean, it does require a hearing, and it requires, so zoning requires the board to make a recommendation to the town moderator.
So the 29th.
So that if you don't have a hearing and can't make a recommendation to the moderator, it just dies, so.
Okay. I mean, we would have to do it on the 29th then, right?
You would either have to have a special meeting or do it on the 29th, yep.
I'm fine with the 29th. I look good on the 29th. I'm coming back from California, so I'll have a nice tan.
Okay.
29th works.
So the 29th, you're okay with it? And Scott, are you okay? And
Yeah, I guess, Karen, what else do we have on the 29th? Is the 29th a busy one?
It would be a general business like this.
Okay, so it's not a 555 night,
Not
I
a
guess.
5
Okay.
night, yeah.
Yeah, I'd be fine with the 29th then.
and then the other two members, I guess, Jason and Karen, I guess we'll just let them know.
SOL, as they say, as the Lupin would say.
Okay, so we will, I guess, I'm thinking we're all three of us, I'm assuming at the 29th, you all are okay with doing the zoning and repeal, right? Those are the two you'd like to do, right?
Okay, so I'll advertise those and let so Travis has a placeholder for these two items. So I'll let him know that you're gonna go ahead and schedule the public hearing.
Okay, all right. Okay, so we don't have to vote on it?
No, you're good.
Good, okay.
You're good. I think they're just directing me to do the hearing notices, fine. Travis also has placeholders for the next two items, which are road acceptances. The first being Summit Point Drive. And
Is George Connors, I saw him on there.
could be,
G.F. Connors, where you at?
yeah.
I'm here. Hi, how are you?
Hey, long time no talk. You look great.
Oh, thanks. I'm alive.
He's alive, aren't we all? Well, no, actually, no, we're not, but
Good evening.
Thank you.
excellent.
Oh, shall I start?
Yes,
course.
please, thank you.
We have a request for road acceptance for Summit Point. We have submitted drafts of the article and of the acceptance, the deed for the acceptance, and 5 easements that go along with that. We submitted a construction cost estimate last fall that left about $70,000 of work, including, retainage and contingencies, which mostly dealt with topsoil and seeding, shade trees, about $25,000 on that, but the town still holds. And erosion control, about $11,000, and some $29,000 on the detention basins, for a total of about $78,000, which we'll be looking for release at some point in time after acceptance. We hope to get it on this particular town warrant. There have been 2 or 3 issues that have come up in the last few days. One is an agreement with the butter across at 91 Highland Street, and the client has an agreement to plant 3 arborvitae trees at his request. There should be a copy of that in your file. There is also some photographs of some trees that were planted adjacent to the butter to the south of the project. They were planted quite some time ago. And then today we had a video inspection of a section of pipe that ran from station 1088 to the discharge. Station 1088 is close to the Ashland side. There are a couple of cracks in the pipe that we're going to be replacing or remedying after we talk to town engineer and DPW director, sharing that video. I believe that the almost $80,000 is enough to cover all of that stuff. As I indicated, most of the work is for checking the seeding that's come through the winter, survived, and the plants. So I think more than enough money for that. It won't reduce until certainly all that work is done and the road has been accepted. So we hope to be able to put it on to town meeting for acceptance. happy to answer any questions, comments, or respond to anything else.
No, I saw the trees, I saw the photographs. I think other than that, I don't have any questions. I don't know if you, Scott, if you had any questions?
No questions.
Okay. Josh?
No, I'm all set. Karen, you good? Any butters on the line or something like that that we should hear from or something like that?
I don't think there are.
Is he satisfied, the abutters?
So, okay, so two things with this. So in terms of the punch list kind of items for this, this new video result of them needing to do some repairs might throw a little snafu in it. So, you know, your policy that you have with the select board in terms of volleying things to them cleanly, or as cleanly as possible, because they're the ones that are required by statute to have a public hearing to lay out streets and then to bring them to town meeting. So it's really a comfort factor for you in terms of having the select board sort of put you on the spot or not. Travis is looking at a public hearing for April 12th on this, so everything would need to be done prior to that in order for the select board to sort of get through their own punch list and requirements under Chapter 82 of the general law. They have until 7 days prior to town meeting to make a recommendation and file that with the town clerk, and then to, you know, sort of announce that at town meeting. So again, a very tight time frame. I'm hoping those repairs are very minimal, but that's a chance that you would need to take. So again, Travis has this as a
Can we push it?
placeholder. I don't know if you want to comment on that, George. I don't know what it is in terms of what needs to be repaired. I did speak to Ali. He can review that stuff rather quickly. So this is Ali Ferrand has been the town's inspector on this project. So this one's been out there for a while. Ali and Tom did talk this afternoon and think that really that's the only issue.
George.
So I don't know.
George,
I don't know what
can
you
speak
think,
to that
George.
issue?
Yes, I can. There are 3 circumferential minor cracks in pipes near the end of the outlet, all underneath the easement, so it's not under pavement. There's 2 or 3 techniques to repair that. One is to shoot an epoxy into it. Another is to simply replace a couple of pieces of pipe. The more important one is about 8 feet from the manhole, which is again in the easement between houses lots number 7 and 8, or close to the Ashland town line. There was a crack and a chunk of pipe fell out at the gasket in the upper right-hand corner, probably at 2 o'clock on a section of pipe. And they indicate the people that ran the camera through it also repair. They indicated that they would be able to send a person into the pipe and patch it with cement. I'm familiar with that process. I used to do pipe jacking when I was half a century ago. And
A local 315.
people do climb into pipes and do that. And so that's a process. It's also able to be shot with an epoxy or a cement with the little camera setup. Or it can be replaced, again, not impacting the road, in the easement, the grass area. So it's something very quickly repaired, and Habitat is more than willing to get this done immediately as soon as we come up with an acceptable solution to the DPW and LE.
Well.
It's totally up to you. So I mean, this
You know what?
kind of came up today. So
I had a steak tonight, so I'm feeling dangerous. So let's. I'm going to make a motion to adopt on the condition. Well, not on the. I can't condition that, obviously. So I'm going to make a motion to accept Summit's Point, or to endorse the select
he's made a motion. Now, the question is, there's a way to hold back on until this is done with the bond, I guess.
Well, you still have the performance bond in place. You're not reducing it this evening. So, my guess is that you're willing to hold that through town meeting?
Yes.
Yeah.
How quickly would they be fixing this? As soon as possible, I guess.
Well, within a couple of days of agreeing with Ali and the DPW, they have to see this video. It was run yesterday afternoon, I believe.
Okay.
I saw it myself this morning at about 9:30.
I'm thinking probably in the next 2 weeks.
I guess, I don't know.
It's a toughie. I made a motion though.
Okay.
What happens when you
made a
eat
motion,
protein
okay.
before a meeting?
You've made a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Scott is second.
George, I'm trusting you on this one. Don't make me look like a fool.
Well, they're very good contractors. Some of the better ones that we work with in terms of doing what they will do quickly. It's a
Okay.
pretty good looking site in my estimation as well.
No,
And
it's
they have
definitely coming along
repaired
real.
things- sorry, they have repaired things that really weren't theirs.
Okay.
Well,
So I guess we'll start with Scott.
Aye.
All right. Josh, and then David, I. So, okay.
Thank you.
So we're assuming this will be done before
2 weeks.
the next 2 weeks or so. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have
Thank
a
you,
good-
George. Have a good night.
evening.
Thank you. Good night. Thank you all.
Good night.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Okay, that's that.
What's next? We got some.
Come on. Squeaking in.
This we're doing later on.
What's that?
That's the one that we're gonna do in April, April 29th.
Oh, that's the 29th one. Perfect.
That's the 29th, yeah.
Let's see that.
29th.
When the Web Industries.
We still have more
Highlands of Holliston for the road acceptances.
Islands of Holliston, okay.
I'm guessing Angela and Jim and Dale are on. You have correspondence from Angela dated March 11th requesting acceptance of the remaining roads in Holliston.
What do we think?
That is Indian Circle in its entirety, Mayflower Landing in its entirety, and the unaccepted portion of Mohawk Path, which is from Mayflower Landing through the intersection of Old Car Path into the cul-de-sac.
You know, I'm thinking maybe we need the whole board.
Is there
for that.
somebody, here that is, speaking tonight, I guess, in regards to this?
Dale?
Or Angela is, okay.
Here, Angela Conforti.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Excellent.
I guess, well, Dale prepared the as-built and he's reviewed those with Karen, and the inspections were done by Tom Smith in 2019, I think. I don't know, Dale, if you want to speak on the condition of the road, and it's ready for acceptance, I think. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Yes, we've gone through that with Tom, and everything on the road, I believe, is past inspection.
Sorry, I was following.
Oh, it's all right.
So I think there are
The
two
big
tricky
gulp.
issues with this, is that, you see correspondence from the homeowners association with their outstanding concerns about 3 specific drainage easements on Mohawk Path. But I would go back to a bigger issue, or rather a bigger sort of snafu issue for, well, it's the same issue. So, essentially what George just did, was sort of like a last-minute video inspection of and cleaning of the drainage system. So that has not been done for these roads. It was done previously for those roads, but not recently. So you have that as an issue. I don't know if there's a proposal to do that really quickly, and also to sort of do another mow through on the basins.
If that's a requirement, that can be done as soon as someone's available to inspect it.
Yeah, so in terms of housekeeping, I mean, that's the two issues that are outstanding is sort of the final cleanup component of the checklist, so back to your guideline for acceptance,
Yeah,
and then,
I think
those easement issues.
we're moving this, I'm assuming, to another meeting. Sounds like till that has been resolved, I believe, I do have another letter here from this, so. Question is, when would we be, not the 15th, but the 29th, I guess?
29th.
So the warrant actually has to publish, 14 days prior to town meeting, so you really have this opportunity to ask the select board to reopen the warrant, or it gets pushed till the special town meeting. Not to put you all on the spot, because now the board is short this evening, so, I mean, if you think there are bigger issues that you want to talk about with everybody.
I don't know if there's necessarily bigger issues that I want to talk about with everyone, but I know that there's some people on the board who might not necessarily want to be here for this.
Well, I think.
And I want to respect that.
Okay.
Because I'm a respectful guy.
Okay.
Dale.
So I think.
I'm sure.
So on that note, I think I do want to push this off.
Okay. All right.
Now the question is till when? When I say push this off, I don't necessarily know if I want to push it off to the special town meeting, but I'm thinking maybe the 29th we could readdress this with everyone here.
Well, the problem is that the warrant needs to publish with it in there, and the select board has an obligation to do a public hearing before the town meeting. So they would be looking to meet their obligations. They need to do that meeting on the 12th. The holiday on the 19th screws up their time frame, so they can't meet on the Monday. They have to meet Tuesday that week, and they wouldn't be in compliance with the statute if they do that. So they have to do this like now or never. So I think the problem is taking this to a public hearing sort of just sets them up to be the forum for a big debate between the homeowners association and Spafford. So,
Okay.
I mean, I hate to keep pushing this off. They're obviously, at the finish line, the roads are, it looks really nice out there. Nothing seems to be damaged. But again, this issue of final cleanup and the outstanding issues with the homeowners association, I can almost see the end.
Okay.
And this has been 22 years for me, Dale.
Right, so to interrupt you, Karen, but if the final cleanup of the catch basins and the detention basins and things like that is an issue, I mean, we can have that done before the select board meeting for, to set the town meeting warrant. And, Fafford's ongoing issues with the homeowners association, or I should say rather the homeowners association's issues with the drainage easements, it's really a separate issue that needs to be worked out between Fafford and the homeowners. And construction of everything that's being presented to the town and to the planning board tonight for acceptance is, like I said, it's complete. So nothing precludes Fafford from continuing its discussions with the homeowners association and working out those issues if the town accepts the streets this year. We're well aware that the homeowners are concerned with the drainage structures within those easements. And we're also very well aware that one of the big concerns in the Highlands is that the school buses can't travel through the neighborhood. So, we were really hoping to resolve that concern tonight with street acceptance, get the school buses to go through, and continue working with the homeowners association on their concerns with the drainage structures that are in the trust.
And then Caldo's camera filming, that's a lot of filming, right? And then somebody has to go through that and look at it? That's a lot of, right? Do all those roads?
Yeah, if that's what Tom wants to do.
So can I speak for a minute? This is Jim also. Karen, we were on last meeting as well, right? We were on last meeting or attempted to be on last meeting. Is that right?
All the general business items from the last agenda were volleyed to tonight. There was
Okay.
there was no discussion.
Okay. So the inspections that were done, end to end by Tom last year are done, right? Nothing's changed. We had agreed we'd need to mow the basins, as part of the final checklist going into town meeting. And that was obviously our understanding and expectation. So I'm just trying to understand, I can't imagine we're being asked to recamera everything.
I
know-
don't think we were talking about recammering when we were talking with Tom. The only thing that is being discussed is flushing out the lines and excavating anything that's in the sumps of the catch basins.
Thanks.
Well, I just,
We've
I just think-
we've already videoed and he's reviewed all those videos of the drainage pipes. So it's only a matter of soil or dirt or something of that nature. The pipes have been approved and so that they haven't moved. And so what we're talking about is flushing and cleaning out the catch basin sumps.
when was that, those videos were last year? I know we had some videos from several years ago that we,
Yeah, possibly between the last 2 years, I would say.
because I know there were some videos that, I remember when Ali was talking about those when we were all having discussions, but those must have been maybe 4 years ago, I think, that we were talking about. I know if I'm,
That's
but these are the
another
same videos.
subject.
That's the
Ali,
other subject.
yeah, Ali doesn't inspect this one.
Oh, he doesn't, okay. I'm getting confused here, okay.
Hmm.
But so you're, in the last 2 years, I don't know
think
whether
so.
there's anything
I don't
within,
think that's true, but,
okay.
I don't know what Tom expects in terms of.
I'm in the middle.
I just don't feel
I'm feeling-
comfortable, at this point, I'm just a little bit concerned about the homeowners association and, how often does that videoing have to be done before the road is acceptance within a certain period of time?
I honestly don't know.
I don't believe Tom talked about re-video, did he, Karen? That's
I
the
don't
first
think
I've
so.
heard. Pardon me?
Yeah, I don't think so, but
Okay.
No.
I'm not really worried about. Someone explain to me more about this homeowners thing, please. Someone
Sure.
give me like a little some layman's explanation of what's going on with the homeowners, just so I can have a better scope of that. I know Angela said that it may not necessarily pertain to this, but just entertain me for 5 minutes, please.
I would ask Angela to respond.
The homeowners are taking issue with 3 drainage structures within easements on Mohawk Path in the area of, I think it's, I don't know the street addresses. It's lot 50 and lot 70 where it comes down, the drainage comes down from the swale at the top of the armored slope to some catch basins in yard drains, I think. Dale, correct me if I'm wrong.
That's correct, yes.
And the drainage structures, from Fafford's perspective, all of our inspections, the drainage is functioning properly. And that the homeowners were told by somebody from the town that the drainage is insufficient. And so we're trying to work out a resolution with the homeowners to make them feel comfortable with these drainage structures being in the homeowners association and the trust.
Hi,
Okay.
everyone.
Thank you for that.
Can you hear me?
Who is this? Who am I hearing?
My name is Gareth Brannigan. I live at 143 Mohawk Path. I am speaking on behalf of 52 households here at the Highlands at Holliston. We are asking to postpone road acceptance to the next town meeting. We are working with the town and Fafford over the ownership of these drainage systems in the development. The proposal is for the homeowners association to own them. The homeowners association doesn't want to own them. We had a meeting on February 11th with Karen Sherman and Fafford to discuss the ownership. the town is open to the idea of taking over the drainage systems. We are in negotiations to try and get us to that point. And so as the final plans are not ready, and you need final plans for road acceptance, we are recommending to postpone the road acceptance.
The plans
Thank
are
you.
ready for road acceptance. This is outside the town's jurisdiction.
Yeah, there's nothing that prohibits the town from later accepting these 3 drainage structures if that's the resolution that comes out of our discussions with the homeowners association. But everything that's before the board tonight and we're hoping to have before town meeting is complete.
Town would have to accept, and so the planning board would have to accept these drainage systems.
Karen,
Yes,
this is
and
Jim.
that can be done separately.
Karen, this is Jim Sullivan. Are you aware that the town is willing to accept this drainage now?
No, I mean, I don't know. Am I the town? I when in that meeting, I said, I was talking about a potential protocol for sort of understanding more of what's there and how they're functioning.
I think,
Right. My
Okay.
understanding of your position in that meeting, Karen, was if the town were to be open to the idea of accepting these drainage structures, then Fafford would have to engineer them and put them on the plan, but these were field changes, these drainage structures, so they're not on the originally approved plans. So if Fafford were to petition the town to accept these drainage structures, then we would have to go through the proper channels. I don't really think that it was ever indicated that the town was interested in ever accepting these drainage structures. Just because they come from the open space that's in the trust. We don't really need to be getting into this here tonight.
I don't think so. I don't think we need to get into this, but
Yeah.
I think after hearing everything, now my brain's a little bit more confused, and I think I'm going to push this off to October. I'm going to make a motion to push it to October.
Okay, so you're making a motion
I am.
to push this to October.
October. And we have a date in October, not just the month of October.
Do I
need a
have a-
date? I need a date.
Yeah.
Give me a date. Pick a date.
Well, is what you're talking about
Talk about October town meeting.
working for the, yeah.
For-
So, I mean,
for-
you could start dealing with this as early as you wanted to.
Yeah, can I ask a question?
Yes.
And the reason it's being moved to October is what specifically for us to correct or deal with, or, because we were here,
There's
about
a couple
4 or
of
5
people on the
months
planning
ago.
board. There's a couple of people
Sorry.
on the planning board who definitely would have more questions about this, and one in particular who definitely has more questions. And I don't feel comfortable moving this road acceptance along without their opinions. I'd like this one to be a full 5-member board approval.
So you do have a quorum tonight,
Yeah,
though,
you
to
have a
vote on
quorum.
things,
I
correct?
know. I'm very well aware that we have a quorum. That's
Thank
the
you.
reason
So
I
you've made a
showed up.
motion. Do I have a second?
Scott.
No, Scott's.
Yeah, I agree with Josh. I'll second.
Okay.
Thank you.
Scott has seconded.
We can talk about which one you
We'll
want to
start
talk
with
about.
Scott.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Josh, and then David, aye.
Simple
So
as
again,
that.
if I may, what exactly are we trying to resolve?
What are we trying to resolve? I want the other members of the board to have some input.
Well, I
Ones
think,
that are not
and then
here.
I think, as stated by, I believe, the gentleman from the homeowners association, I believe you're from there, or you're their attorney, I'm not sure.
Well, he's their representative.
I am not an attorney, just
Oh, okay. I just.
just
didn't
live
think-
here,
Resident, okay.
resident.
It'd be nice to have that sort of resolved, and again, Angela, I understand that you're saying that it's two separate things, I just would like to, we're
Yeah, he's
almost at the end
the issue.
here, and you,
That's on the plans before you, but
and then I'd also, I want to clarify, we don't have that clarification on the, all of the drainage pipes, whether they need to be cleaned, or I don't know that answer. What is, I just know the last thing that we talked about, which was Summit Point, there were some concerns when they went through and looked at the piping. So I don't know if in the last, if we haven't, maybe it hasn't been filmed in 2 years or 3 years, I don't know. But let's say maybe some ice got in there and cracked something. It'd be nice to have that fixed. And just so that we're all, I just feel more comfortable saying, well, geez, we've sent a camera through if that's what has to be done. Again, I may be speaking, and I don't know the answer, but if we had sent a camera through and it all looked great, that's fantastic. If we look through and there's a crack somewhere, you know, either somebody has to crawl in there, certainly not me, I wouldn't be doing that, but somebody has to fix it or put the hydraulic cement or something. I just feel uncomfortable if we accept this and then somebody says, well, some of these drains are now crumbling a year from now. Well, you should have looked at before you accepted the road. So I just would feel more comfortable. And this gives us from now to October to resolve that, and then I'm assuming to resolve the issue with or whatever the difference is with the homeowners association. So.
I mean, once the
Thank
town
you.
of Holliston accepts these drainage structures, are you gonna send a camera through all the drain lines every 2 years to make sure there are no cracks? I mean, this was inspected and passed inspection 2 years ago. Oh, okay.
It has nothing to do with the filming.
Yeah.
Really, what it has to do with, we want people here.
Well, anyway, thank you. Next item. I
And we've
guess,
been on the
is-
agenda for for a week. They knew about the meeting a week ago. Okay.
Yep, thank you.
We're almost there. Is there anything else that we have in terms of,
For town meeting, no?
yeah, so that's it.
Yep.
Okay.
Good, cool.
Okay, that's it for town meeting. Next item is, if I can find, so that's it for annual town road acceptance. Next would be Web Industries.
Who's speaking for what?
Is somebody here for Web Industries?
Yes, good evening. My name is David Biancavilla with the BSC Group here representing Web Industries.
How are you this evening?
Very good, thank you. Is it possible for me to share my screen?
Yes. Yes, please.
So I know you have a busy night, so I'll try and be brief here. We were in front of this board last year. Web Industries at 220 Hoppingbrook Road has been producing COVID-19 test kits. At that time, we expanded the parking lot in the rear, did a small building addition, and we had to replace the septic system in order to support the employees that they were having in to come in to do the COVID-19 tests. That plan presented to you, it was approved. The site was originally permitted in 2001 under a special permit. So that special permit was amended for the improvements that you see in front of you last year. Up with demands, this site has had to go on to 2 shifts. And so one of the issues that we're having with the 2 shifts is the parking and the turnover on the 2 shifts. So what we're proposing and what's in front of you this evening is extending the parking lot in the rear for another 72 parking spaces. The 72 parking spaces exceeded the impervious area that was originally designed in the detention basins down in this area here. So we have redesigned the stormwater system and increased the pond in the rear back here. The site improvements, including the stormwater management improvements, have been reviewed by outside peer CMG, and they've approved the revisions that we provided to them earlier. And so we're here for an amendment for the additional parking and the stormwater improvements to accommodate the additional impervious area. We did go in front of Conservation Commission on Tuesday night. We're in the buffer here slightly. We were able to get approval from the Conservation Commission with a negative determination on our RDA. So we are free from Conservation Commission and have their approval. And the last approval we need is from this board. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions. Again, it's pretty straightforward. The parking lot's expanded. We flow into the existing catch basins that are in the parking lot that we built last year. And then the stormwater pond gets expanded to accommodate and mitigate the additional stormwater runoff.
And there's an area for snow plowing, I guess, somewhere there, I guess, for pushing the snow, I guess.
There is in the back, and we have snow storage areas back here and back here outside of the buffer zone, and then some up here, and we'll put some signage as to labeling or document or showing those as snow storage areas.
Okay.
Karen, you got anything?
I prepared a quick draft based on Ryan's decision and added some stormwater things from the comment letter from CMG. I think it's a pretty clean proposal. Just the two special conditions regarding erosion control barriers, fertilizer use, and then under the occupancy permit, we're looking just for the illicit discharge statement.
Yep.
Okay.
Did you hear those two conditions?
Yes.
Or two,
Yep.
excellent.
So we have no issue with those two conditions.
Scott, did you have anything you wanted to address or ask or question?
No,
or anything?
it sounds like, you know, if the Concom was good with it, then I have no objection.
Okay, great.
Make a
I don't,
motion.
you're making a motion? Okay.
Make a motion to approve the modifications to
Okay.
site plan, parking lot, Web Industries, on the condition that they oblige those two
Okay.
and everything the Concom said.
So Josh has made a motion. Do I have a second?
Second,
Okay, Scott has seconded. Start with Scott.
aye.
All right. Josh, aye, and David, aye. So, thank you very
Thank you
much.
very much for your time.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you all.
I guess next is Next Grid Snowberry LLC, 1070 Washington Street, site plan review.
Yeah, how do you do? My name is Daniel Serber with Next Grid Inc. I'm the development director here. Also with me, I have Brendan Kling, Grady Engineering. So we are proposing a relatively small horse paddock at a horse farm at 1070 Washington. The covered structure is going to have solar panels on the roof, which is, I believe, the basis of why we're here. It'll be 125 kilowatts. We are primarily a solar company, but we were approached by the landowner to not only put solar on a couple of their existing barns, but also build a shade structure and tacking structure that'll be an accessory to their existing use, training and raising horses. Looks like you guys are sharing our site plan, or I thought you were.
I can also share it if you'd like.
Yeah. So
Coming up. Stop it. What are you doing?
we're set back quite far from Washington, so it won't be visible by any public right of way, won't be visible by any abutters. The only place it'll have a sight line to where any residents would be able to see it besides the landowners is a couple of openings at the rail trail where you'll be able to see it a few hundred feet away. The structure has a 14.4 foot clearance, so people will be able to ride horses under the structure without having to dismount. The panels themselves will be mostly south facing, so they're going to actually be facing away from the rail trail itself. So we've been through this with the selectmen, and I'm not sure how much you guys know about this project itself. So it may be easier just to open up for questions, as I'm not quite sure where I'm starting from here.
Okay, so I'm just trying to think if you had any questions.
No, it looks pretty
John?
straightforward. I mean, also, it's on somebody's property. It's not like a private public thing or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's solar, so it's cool with that. Yeah, looks good to me.
I mean, I guess you'll see it from the rail trail. I know from the road that's down in behind, but I guess walking down the rail trail, you'll see that, but,
Yeah, there's an opening. There's one opening where you'll be able to see it. but it's a few hundred feet away. And again, the panels will be facing away from it, so it's not gonna, it's gonna, I believe, have a fairly agricultural feel. And as you see the designs under it, it's gonna, have a lot of horse infrastructure in and around it. So.
I don't walk down that way often, but I know that's fairly open there, but, you're not gonna cut any trees along the, rail trail side, I guess, I'm assuming.
Absolutely no tree cutting, no new impervious surface.
Okay. We've had that happen in the past where we've had trees cut down because there wasn't enough light coming in, and so we've had that, because these look like they're fairly close to that area there. So I just want to make sure that, and I'm sure you've been through that with the select board. So I didn't know if Scott had any questions or thoughts or anything.
I have no objection. Seems straightforward.
Make a motion to.
Is there? I just want to quickly see if there's anything that any thoughts you had in terms of.
I'm not sure. I mean, ordinarily, and I've had this discussion with Brendan that, ordinarily we'd be very concerned about stormwater. So this is kind of a unique situation in that a paddock is sort of a wide open slate versus having sort of a normal grassed under situation. So, I mean, and being an agricultural use, my guess is that if there are consequences of the stormwater, they're going to want repairs on their own, because it's, ordinarily it would be sort of an unmanned site that no one's around. In this case, it's very actively used, and I'm sure that, any impacts are going to be immediately known and dealt with.
So this is it looks like it's sloping down the hill towards the rail trail. So there's a lot of water runoff, you're saying, off the top of that huge structure there.
The rail trail's what, 20 feet above where that is?
Yeah.
So it's all the water here is flowing to the east down to these wetlands, which we're plenty far away from.
Okay.
The only impact I could see from stormwater would be erosion down at the base of the drip line, and if the homeowners are seeing that, obviously, it's their site, they're on site all the time. They'll want to address that themselves, which is as easy as just putting in a gravel trench or something.
Gravel trench along there or digging in, okay.
Exactly.
I'm ready to make.
Is there anything else you thought that, is that something we should put in there or is that, I don't know, in terms of, but I'm assuming they'll want
Sort of a
that.
cautionary tale. I mean, that could be direction to the building inspector to be sort of on the lookout for any erosion when they're doing inspections. I mean, you could craft some sort of generic condition about that.
Okay.
One thing when you do the bigger sites, is that you sort of find out about staging and sort of hours of operation that are proposed. So I don't know if you just want to walk the board through that. Being site plan review, they can't really control the hours of operation, but they may want to just understand staging for construction. I know you have a lot of moving parts on the site, so a little unusual because it's not exactly a blank slate.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to be working around an active horse farm and they teach students how to ride horses and dressage and all that stuff. So they've identified staging areas on the side of the northern barn, the wider of the two barns. Access is down there to the south where you see the little panhandle going out towards the street. So we'd never operate before 7 a.m. But we're going to be working uniquely with the landowner to get deliveries around their horse training, and they're very, very sensitive to that. So we talked extensively to the Dubin family about hours of operation, about staging and deliveries more than we would at a site that is just a blank slate. This is an active site. So we are well planned to do staging, and then like I said, we're not going to be operating before 7 a.m. This is also where they live. And we're not proposing or plan to build anything after dark. And generally we pack up at 4:30. Unless we're running against an end of year schedule, which we absolutely won't be on this site, which construction will only be approximately 3 weeks for the whole thing. So.
And weekends, I guess?
We don't need to work weekends on the site either.
Oh,
We're not really up against a timeline unless something really bad were to happen and it would get closer to the end of the year.
I was wondering how deep you have to go through, how deep for those poles there. I'm amazed that's such a heavy structure. I see that at gas stations, where they've got that huge structure with wind and all that. Do you have to go pretty deep for that pole? This is just I'm just interested in terms of.
Yeah, so there's two kinds of footings that you generally use: a spread footing or a deep pile. And those piles are based on soil conditions and our pool tests. And a structural engineer will certify the depth, and they can be up to 8 feet deep.
Oh wow!
And I don't think these will be. These will be closer to 6, and they'll be encased in concrete at the footing. But they're not particularly wide because we're not proposing spread footing, so they're going to be pretty slim.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I'm just interested in terms of,
All right. Well, you know where I'm at. I made a motion to approve.
Okay, so you made a motion to approve.
The conditions that we've talked about.
Okay.
Sit till 4:30.
So Josh has made a motion to approve with those conditions. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Scott has seconded, and I'll start with Scott.
Aye.
All right. Josh? Aye. Okay, and David, aye.
Cool.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good luck.
All right. Thanks a lot. And if you guys do have any questions about your new solar bylaw or any of that stuff, I'm always around for advice. So good luck with that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Have a good evening.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Peace. All right. Who's next?
So that's that. And next is preliminary subdivision plan, Constitution Village, LLC.
Oh, no.
So, I don't know if Dale is speaking or Angela, I'm not sure.
Yes, this is Dale McKinnon. I have the Garnet Lane proposed preliminary plan. It's an open space residential development. And if I can share my screen again, I will present that.
Okay.
Is my screen showing up?
It is, yes. Yep, we're all set.
Okay. So there's a 4-lot subdivision meeting the requirements of the zoning for this use. We've also provided on page 4 a regular subdivision without the open space. And we've met the requirements for the required uplands within that open space, and present this to you. We received the materials today from Ryan Clapp about the concerns of the enforcement order, an issue that happened apparently in 2016. His discussion of the open space is that it has to do with the value of wetlands. We're providing this open space as required by the zoning, so it doesn't relate to the open space that we had on Constitution Village for the restricted area. This is just part of the zoning issue. So we wanted to present this plan and see if there are any issues, so we could go forward and address it in a definitive plan stage.
Okay.
We would obviously have to submit this also to the Conservation Commission, as Ryan said.
So you have not been, okay, so you,
No, it's a preliminary plan, so we'll probably go before the Planning Board and the Conservation Commission at the same time, once we've developed the definitive plan.
okay. Is there any thoughts you have on
It looks good to me, but.
this?
No, so, you know, for you all, a preliminary plan is sort of an unusual kind of circumstance. So it has a different sort of review standard, very, what do you want to say, wishy-washy in terms of sort of the statutory requirements. So this is Chapter 41, Section 81F for a preliminary plan. So it has a shorter review time than a definitive plan. Like any decision, it has a sort of a, you approve as is, you approve with, and they call it modifications suggested by the board in the statute, or you disapprove. It sort of is directional to them in terms of filing their definitive plan. So, I mean, I guess just basically what you have from Angela is sort of a position paper on the issue of use of the
We're using a portion of the old Jennings Road right-of-way as part of the cul-de-sac. And explanation was given by Angela as to why that should be allowed.
Yeah, and
1700.
Attorney Tallerman has requested, I guess, some more definitive information on the status of the ownership of Jennings Road. It's kind of without really getting into it, it's maybe a little boring for the board, but as far as I can tell from my research, this has been done by the town and by Fafford before, as you know, because Praying Indian Way is laid out within Jennings Road. So I feel like the town has a position on this, or did 20 years ago. And I think I just need to explore that a little bit more with Jay Tallerman. Is just being such a, I don't want to call it ancient, but the road, as I stated in my memo, in the history of the road, started being used sometime in the 1700s as a cart path. And I guess the town's acceptance of the road or its status as a public way is still something that's up in the air. But like I said, Praying Indian Way is laid out in a portion of Old Jennings Road. So I feel like this has been explored in depth before, and I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. I would just like to get to the bottom of what that research was before, that's all.
So I think in terms of, what happens next when they set up to do additional engineering for the definitive submittal, I think, your option is to sort of approve with, and I wouldn't say you would meet the statutory requirements of modifications, but more like Angela just stated, like sort of a resolution of the legal issue. So I think in terms of, writing a decision or putting something into the record to make sure this meets your 45 days of for action, is that you simply say that you're recognizing that as an outstanding issue and that should be resolved for the definitive subdivision. Ordinarily, for an open space residential development, we would also direct the applicant to secure disposition of the open space right up front before you file the definitive subdivision. And I think just talking with Ryan about this, I don't think the Conservation Commission would be interested in either holding a conservation restriction or holding the parcel in fee. However, he can't really speak for the Concom, so my guess is that once you should get yourself, directionally, you should get yourself in front of the Concom to discuss whether they would be willing to do one of those two things, and if not, you would need to find a willing partner to either hold the restriction or take the fee interest, so that you met the requirement under the open space, what is that called? OSRD. I'm sorry, forgot what all the letters meant in
Yeah, open
OSRD.
space residential development.
Residential development. Yeah. So I guess in terms of what I'm recommending to the board is sort of, as sort of checklist items for the definitive, that they direct you to, one, resolve the issue of the ownership of Jennings Road, two, to sort of figure out the disposition of the open space. I think it's as simple as that, I guess.
Okay. So, other than that,
Other than that, I mean, there's not much you can do in terms of the preliminary. There's not drainage to be reviewed. There aren't abutter concerns, et cetera, et cetera. No one's done peer review, for instance.
No, but the preliminary plan is helpful to me so that I didn't really know the issues with, for instance, the Conservation Commission and the enforcement order. So those types of things come out, and now I can address those. That's the next thing I'll do is I'll talk to Ryan and the Conservation Commission, make sure that we're both on board with going forward with this project. So that's the reason for a preliminary plan, is to flesh out these items. And like the issue you just discussed for Jennings Road, so.
okay. So other than that, I guess we're good, I guess, right? Nothing else?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any other issues that sort of, you're not proposing to sort of, a lot of these, if you're tacking on additional lots to a subdivision, you're sort of retrofitting existing infrastructure. In this case, it's new infrastructure, so it would be evaluated on its own independently of the rest of the subdivision.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It's more than a concept, but it's less than what needs to be done for definitive. So, yeah, I think you're there with that checklist of sort of two items of dealing with the access and the disposition of the open space.
Right.
Okay, I have a question. There's old Jennings Road that goes over into Ashland there. What's your proposed basin that you showed there in the bottom next to lot 3? Is that a wetlands there?
Yeah, well, that's the basic thing that I've got to deal with Ryan Clapp for that.
Who is this that I'm sorry, I just didn't know who was speaking.
My name's Fran Hartwich. I live on Concord Street.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay, thank you.
That layout that's shown there is just a preliminary. It's not the design.
That's okay. Yeah, I understand.
Okay.
You should probably make a motion to sort of approve with, the statute says approve with modifications suggested. Angela, I don't really feel comfortable saying that that's a modification suggested by the board, but those would be issues to resolve. I won't quote the statute. I think the board is,
Yeah, that's fine.
taking the option of, it's really odd language in the statute.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay. So would somebody like to make a motion to that effect?
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve with the condition statute.
Okay. Josh just made a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, Scott has made a second. Scott, if you would like to go first.
Aye.
All right, Josh.
Aye.
And then David, aye. So that's that.
Thank you very much.
Have a good night.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. You guys have a good night.
Good night. Thank you, you too.
Bye, Dale.
Good night.
Night. Thank you. Is there anything else? I'm trying to think, we have anything else in the,
With the ganja people.
was there anything, I'm just trying to think, that's it on the agenda, unless there was something else.
No, I think you're good. So, you know, in terms of the schedule, nobody really committed to meetings beyond the April 29th, but did I send out another schedule? I forget whether I actually attempted to do that,
Well,
but I'm
the last thing I
assuming you
have
want to
is
look at May. Yeah, so, Scott, I don't know if you looked at the May schedule for the 6th and the 20th. Are you okay with those?
At this point, yes. I don't have anything on my calendar as of now.
That sort of just, I mean, that puts you back to back with the 29th. So the 29th being sort of a general business meeting like this, and then the 6th, in all likelihood, being a 555 night.
Let's talk about May 6th. May 6th is going to be my 5th year anniversary on the board.
Wow,
Correct. Hope to have a
you're
party.
an old timer.
Do you have your, stuff that you need?
Folder, my clanky drink.
Your folder?
Folder.
Your folder for, well, anyway, I'm thinking, we've got the 15th, and then we've got the 29th, right? And then
Yep.
we're thinking June, I see here, June, okay, 6th and 10th? I don't know. You know, town meeting is the 10th, or the 20th, I'm sorry, I don't know why I said that.
It is the 10th. You're right.
Oh, we are, okay, the
Yep.
10th, okay, all right, okay. Oh, right, 'cause, yeah, okay, right. I think those work for me. I don't know if anybody
Works for me.
I guess, is there a reason, not to say that it doesn't work, is there a reason we're doing the 29th and then the 6th back to back?
Only because town meeting falls on the 10th, and so to do that week, you know, if town meeting goes 2 nights, and any of you are participating, then it's sort of a bummer to be meeting that same week.
Yeah. Okay.
Golly.
And again, I don't know that 555 will be, you know, sort of ready to volley from the 15th to the 6th. So, you know, if you're reserving it exclusively for that, it's quite possible that, you know, things could go awry, or it could be a very focused meeting to sort of resolve or to bring it to an end, or, you know, work with Jay to sort of figure out a strategy of getting yourselves to a decision. So I think as long as you're sort of separating the general business from that, you are in better shape.
Okay.
All right, so I think, do you want us to vote on those, or? we
No,
just-
I think you're
okay.
good. I just wanted to make sure everybody saw them, because I didn't get any feedback, so.
And
Ready to make-
before we, is there anything else before we, make a motion to, I don't know if there's anything else that we needed to go over?
I'm good.
Okay,
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
okay.
Second.
Do I have, all right, all in favor, I guess?
Aye, double aye.
Okay,
Aye.
Scott? And David,
Aye.
aye, okay.